All right, let's see who our very first passenger is. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Justin Harvey. I'm Global Incident Response Leader with Accenture Security.
Let's talk a little bit about ransomware and how the incident response playbook might be changing a little bit. As you know, there's been an evolution in terms of ransomware attacks. It's not just ransomware anymore. Now you have these attacks where not only is data being encrypted, but data is being stolen and exfiltrated and published online. If there's no payment, they dox the information. How is that changing the response playbook from what it would typically be?
Well, let's look at what this actually is. It's not just ransomware, it's actually cyber extortion. Ransomware is merely the tool by which adversaries are using to monetize the information, the very valuable information that corporations have, whether it be intellectual property, whether it be the C-suite and board's emails. The fact is it's cyber extortion. So I think that incident response playbooks are kind of evolving right now from being a traditional seek and destroy, find the malware, find the adversary within the environment, and I think that boards and C-suites are waking up that it's more of a business issue rather than a technical issue. And incident response playbooks are transitioning and transforming to be more, if I dare say, inclusive of the C-suite and the board, since it would be highly unlikely that a CISO would say, would be negotiating directly with cyber extortionists rather than going up to the C-suite, the CEO, and the board and saying, they have this information of ours. What are we going to do as a team to think about it? And that's one of our biggest points with corporations, and saying it's not just technical, it's business.
All right, let's transition from ransomware now to data breach and incident response to that. There was a pretty controversial one that took place recently, a report on the United Nations experiencing a data breach, and that taking place over the summer, but actually not really being publicly exposed or publicly disclosed until there was an expose on the incident. And there's been varying accounts on how much sensitive information was actually lost in the case, and some multiple explanations on why the information was withheld in the first place. So what lessons can be taken from that particular prominent incident that took place?
Well, I don't have any direct knowledge other than what I've read in the media around the United Nations breach, but what I will say is that with these disclosures, I think that they're very disruptive to the order of investigations. I particularly in many different countries, particularly in the United States here, there's no federally mandated disclosure. And being someone who is in the trenches a lot with my team working very large-scale breaches on a global level, I've thought of three things around this. First is that when a disclosure comes out, the first thing that happens is your adversaries they know about it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to set up a Google alert and say, Acme company, which I've hacked, incident, Acme breach. So the minute that something goes public and the adversaries know about it, and what we have seen is even your run-of-the-mill cyber criminals have secondary and tertiary, 4 times, 5 times backup ways to get into an environment. So when something like that is leaked to the media, it gives the adversaries more of a first mover advantage. The second thing that happens is that copycat attacks will happen. So you will see other people saying, well, that organization has been compromised. What can I do to probe, or what can I do to do reconnaissance to actually follow on the back of it? Someone completely different could access the site. And the third one is, and this is not very publicly talked about, but it can really impede the investigation when it becomes so public. I'm not saying that I'm against disclosure. I think it really follows the suit of zero-day disclosure. Do it responsibly. Go to the vendor. Go to the people that matter. And if you are going to disclose it, have all of the right information.
All right. Now, you kind of hinted at a little bit earlier. You sort of when we were talking off camera, you teased maybe a war story that gives me a little bit more of an idea of what you go through as a global incident response lead. And so give me your best data breach war story.
We were working an incident, and there was a command and control beacon that went up to a domain. We use at Accenture Security We use domain tools on a daily basis. We looked at the domain record, and right there it had you could see all of the hosts. So our company, or our victim, was beaconing up to this one. We looked one host over, and we're like, that looks like the initials of another company in this sector. And we looked at the next one and the next one. So we could see this adversary, I guess, was a little bit lazy, as many of them are, and they didn't register a new domain. And so we could see all of their co-victims. And the other thing that we did, I had a team member that took the email address that's listed for that domain and then started Googling that, just straight up using google.com. And there was a forum post with that username. That was this adversary was asking a forum how to decrypt a database password file, not like a dump. We're talking about a major database vendor, and you have to use some sort of SQL GUI to access the database, and you can save passwords in an encrypted form. And he was asking how to decrypt it, and darned if that was not our client. So we already knew, and then actually tipped us off. I think that's also a great way to utilize open source intelligence. Like, you have all these tools available to you, and then we knew where to look next in the investigation.
All right, we got a couple of minutes left. I wanted to try to throw out a couple quick ones to you. I understand you do also have some metrics of some engagements that you can share on trends you've been seeing as root causes of incidents in 2019 and some attacker metrics. So just give me a couple of your best ones real quick.
54% of our incidents that we've run for the last year were from phishing. And I know I'm Captain Obvious here. Obvious Justin is obvious, but humans still exist as the weakest link to cybersecurity. And we are so focused on technology, and we are so focused on all the latest whiz-bang things, but I think it shows that if we focus on the human element, and we focus on not building higher walls, but thinking that I hate to say it, that we've already been compromised, meaning there is no perimeter anymore. If we focus on things like multi-factor authentication, on cloud security, on administrative access control, and monitoring those controls, I think that would go a lot further than just saying, well, we're going to have a technical solution to everything. One more stat that we have from our annual cost of cybercrime. Over the last 5 years, in the last 5 years, the average impact of an incident that a company pays out has gone up 72% over the last 5 years to an average of 13.7 million. Last year it was 12. Now it's gone up to 13.7, and that's astounding that we're seeing numbers climb and climb and climb on a year-over-year basis.
All right, Justin. Well, thanks for joining us. It looks like we've hit your stop. So, but we're going to bid adieu to you. But thanks so much. Appreciate the time. All right, you have a good one.